Hi students, hi everyone. So today I'm here with a very interesting and important topic called as critical reasoning. So talking about critical reasoning, let it be GRE, GMAT, CAT, irrespective of any competitive exam, critical reasoning is very important topic because there is no question paper without this topic. So today in our class, we will be seeing what are the different types of questions, what are the different terminologies that I should know before solving critical reasoning question. So let's get started, right? So, critical reasoning introduction part one. Um, what is the actual meaning of critical reasoning? Critical reasoning means making clear, reasoned conclusion based on given facts and underlying assumption. So when I say given facts, based on the given passage, I'm going to assume and come to the conclusion. So this is what the outline of the critical reasoning. Now let's see what are the terminologies that we should know before solving a question. So the first thing is called as premise. Premise means what? An information or any given statement, I call it as premise. Okay. And we have something called as conclusion. Conclusion is nothing but a result or an opinion or a judgment of the author. So in a particular passage, in a question, you have only two things. One is called as your premise and the other one is called as your conclusion. Okay. So based on these two, you're going to find out rest all things whatever the question is asked for. Talking about the next term that is called as assumption. What is the meaning of assumption in our day-to-day life? It means what? To guess or to predict. So similarly, here also assumption means to predict or to guess. What I'm guessing? Anything based on the question I should assume, so that the assumption should take me to the conclusion. So based on the given information, I assume things which will connect me to the conclusion. So your premise plus assumption will take you to the conclusion. Now I'll give you example. Before seeing the example, let's see the types of assumption. We have two types of assumption. Assumption can be further classified as your strengthening assumption and weakening point. Now when I say strengthening, what you will do, meaning supporting. Okay, so when I say strengthen the statement, you will always go and strengthen the conclusion. And then I have weaken the argument or weaken it. So weaken means what? You will not support, you will go against it. Now let's see some example with I'll give you a simple example for this. Let's say Rahul is a bad boy, he always smokes. Okay, now this is my sentence. The given information is what? That he smokes, and the given conclusion is what? That he is a bad boy. The author already gave his or her judgment that Rahul is a bad boy. Okay, and now what is my assumption behind what the author might have assumed before telling that he is a bad boy? Based on some information, he gave the statement that he is a bad boy. So based on what information? That he always smoke. So maybe according to the author, whoever smokes is a bad boy, right? So that becomes my assumption. So I'm connecting my conclusion with the given information and then assuming this could be the assumption. Understood? Now this same assumption, now let's take this scenario in our real time scenario. Let's say in our classroom, I'm coming and telling, okay, there is a guy Rahul, and I'm coming and telling that Rahul is a bad boy, he always smokes. Now those who all are best friends of Rahul, what you will do? You will be like, no ma'am, you are wrong, I know Rahul, right? You will support Rahul, but you will not support me. You will weaken my conclusions. That is called as weakening statement. If you are enemy of Rahul, let's say you don't like Rahul at all, so what you will do? You will come up with more points telling that, ma'am, you are 100% correct, Rahul is always bad. Happens, right? Same thing here also. So if you're coming up with a strengthening argument, what all you can say? You'll have to prove that Rahul is a bad boy, and you'll have to strengthen my argument that he is bad. So what all you will come and say? Yes ma'am, he also smokes, drinks and everything. Or you can also say that he is not so much into studies. So whatever makes him bad, you will add up those things. So that becomes my strengthening the argument. Coming to the weakening part, when I say weaken the argument, what you will do? You will save Rahul and then you'll go against me. You will weaken my conclusion. So how do you do that? You'll say, ma'am, Rahul is, you may not, you might have seen somebody else. It's not Rahul who used to smoke. Or you can say Rahul is so fitness cautious that he will never do all this. So some point that supports and oppose will become my strengthening and weakening. Okay, so the last thing on here with the terminology is I have something called as inferences. Have you ever heard of inference? Inference means some true statement, 100% true statement. When I say inference, it should not be mentioned in the premise, it should not be given in the question at all, but the basic understanding which is not given, still 100% true. Okay, let me give you a simple statement example now. Let's say a boy and a girl are sitting together. Okay, so when I say a boy and a girl are sitting together, what all you come up with as a point that you understood from this? What you understood from this? You can say a boy and girl are boyfriend girlfriend, they are brother sister, they know each other, but all these are assumption because it's not 100% true. I want 100% true, which is not given. You can't say, ma'am, they are sitting, it's already given again. Okay, so something not given but I understood and it's still correct. You cannot deny the fact it is not correct or it is correct. How can I say there are two people? If I say there are two people sitting, can you deny that there are no two people irrespective of boy and girl? Can you deny the fact that this is not an inference? This is an inference, which means true statement but still not given. I understood. Okay, now next I'll be showing you an example. Okay. So Jenny got 5 traffic tickets. She is a bad driver. So this is my question. Let's suppose Jenny got 5 traffic tickets and she's a bad driver is the given question, out of which is your information and or which is your premise and conclusion. Anything opinion or judgment is my conclusion. So bad is my judgment. So that becomes my conclusion. And premise is Jenny got 5 traffic tickets. So here premise says Jenny got 5 traffic tickets and conclusion says that she is a bad driver. Now, out of these two, what is my assumption that what connects my premise and conclusion, right? I can assume, as I said, assumption is just guessing or a prediction. So I can assume n number of things. I can also assume that Jenny got a BMW car. I can also assume that she has a red color car. So all this becomes a right assumption. But will that help my question? No, right? So something that connects my premise and the conclusion should be my assumption. Now, if I say suddenly there is something called traffic tickets and suddenly author said bad driver. So maybe according to the author, whoever gets 5 traffic tickets are considered to be a bad driver. Yes, so this is my first primary assumption for this given question. Now, very simple, guys. As I already told you, I'll give one such scenario. Okay, always maintain inside the boundary. Let's suppose a plus b. Okay, a plus b is given as 10. Okay, a plus b is equal to 10. And then they have also given b is equal to 5. Now, this is my given information. Out of this, a plus b is equal to 10, b is equal to 5. I can assume a as any number. But will that give me 10 is my question? No, right? Until and unless if I assume that b as 5, I will not get a 10. Same like this. Until and unless I give a connection between my premise and conclusion, my assumption will always go wrong. So always remember, premise plus your assumption will lead you to conclusion. Talking about the next point, I have strengthening and weakening. So what could be strengthening? Strengthening, what you will do, you will support the author. What is author's decision? Bad driver. So you'll have to prove, yes, Jenny is bad driver. So Jenny made major accidents in the last few months. You can come up with more strengthening points. You can also say Jenny always disobeys the rules, or you can also say that Jenny always drinks while driving, or Jenny had killed 5 people, that's why she got 5 traffic tickets. So all these points makes me think that, okay, maybe Jenny is really a bad driver. So you're supporting the author. Talking about the next point, weaken the argument. So what you will do, you will save Jenny, you will blame the author. Now, by saying traffic tickets are given for wrong parking. Now let's suppose instead of parking on my right, I parked it on left, but that doesn't make someone a bad driver. So you can say tickets are something for wrong parking, or it's not Jenny who drove the car, it's somebody else, or it's a driver. So all these kind of points will make the conclusion weaker. Understood? And the last thing, what is inference here? Can anyone tell me? Inference here should be a true statement. There is very minute thin line between your assumption and inference. 99.99%, if a statement is correct, still that will go under assumption. Until then, 100% I cannot assume that as my inference. Okay, so inference is completely true. What is true statement here? Jenny got 5 traffic tickets. We know that it's given. I cannot take that as inference. She is a bad driver is also given. What else could be my inference? My inference here is she knows driving. When I say I know to talk, then only you can judge whether I'm talking good or bad. So when I say she knows to drive or she's driving, then only you can say whether she's a bad driver or good driver. So the basic understanding from this question, from these two lines, is that she knows to drive. Understood? So this is one example question. Now I'll tell you what are the different types of question you will be getting in your examination. So the first question will be of assumptions, wherein we just saw a statement, premise and conclusion will be given, from which you'll have to come to the assumption. Next is your weaken the argument. As I said, you'll have to go against the author or against the conclusion. So what happens here is, in every critical reasoning question, the mandatory part is you will have to find the conclusion. If you cannot able to find the conclusion, you will go wrong with weakening, strengthening and assumptions. Okay, so how do you find the conclusion? There are few keywords also. Whenever there is going to be a conclusion, you may have on the other hand, thus, hence, therefore. So these are the keywords to identify the conclusion in the passage. So the next type of question is called strengthen the argument. Strengthen means supporting the conclusion. And then I have inferences, which is nothing but 100% true statements. Parallel reasoning. Now, this is something quite new and very common question. When I say parallel reasoning, whatever the question says, the answer option should also say the same. Now, if the question goes in such a pattern, the answer option should also take same pattern. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, thus A is equal to C. If this is my question pattern, answer option should also have the same pattern. Now, in the previous example, we just said Jenny got 5 traffic tickets, she is a bad driver. Now, what could be the mimic pattern of the same? I could say Rahul got 5 good conduct certificate, so he is the best student. So similar rhyming words and similar sounding logic can be mimic the pattern, or you can also call it as parallel reasoning. Okay. Now, next, the last type is very, very important, flaw in reasoning. This topic will be discussed in detail, but still, let's just have a glimpse of it. Flaw in reasoning means an error will be there in the passage. So you'll have to find the error, or at times you'll have to resolve the error. So there are different types here. So let's just see the types, but I'll be explaining this in my next class. So generalization is one, association and factors. We also have resolve the paradox. So many are there. So these are my types of question. Now there is going to be one small trick in solving critical reasoning, guys. Whenever you get a question, what you will do? You will first read the passage or the question, and then you will solve the question. But here, whenever it is critical reasoning, always read the stem. Stem is nothing but the one single statement question which is given in between your passage and the options. So I will be reading the stem first, then the passage, then my answer option. Why? It might help you. If it is a flaw in reasoning, you will avoid rereading the question. Okay, because you believe the passage, you read it, and then you come to the stem and then realize, oh no, it's a flaw. I'll have to go and find out the error again. So that won't happen when you're following the steps. So always read the question first, that is the stem, and then the passage, then come to the answer option. Hope you understood the session. So thank you so much, guys. We'll see you in our next class.